Hello, everybody. I want to welcome all of you to this live stream. I want to say thank you so much for coming to day 2 of the webinar today. I am really happy that you are here with us today. Well, let me first introduce myself. If you're new here, I'd actually request all of you that are here already, I'd request you to subscribe. Subscribing is going to help you get reminded of the next series that we're going to be having. We are going to be having a series. This is day 2 of 5 days, and we're also going to be producing more content like this moving into the future. So I welcome you to subscribe. But today, this is the Web Design for Small Business webinar, where we're going to be teaching you live how to design a website for your business. From the planning stage, which is what we did yesterday. So if you haven't seen that already, you can go to the Deep Africa YouTube channel and you can find that, to now today, where we're going to be covering setting the foundation and then moving on to actually building the site itself. So I want to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really grateful that you chose to spend your hour with us. Now, one thing I'll request from you is your full attention. Attention for a full hour. I know it's going to be packed with a lot of really useful information. So I request you that if you have any other tabs on your computer, close them. If you have like YouTube playing somewhere else, close that as well, so we can be all together. I would also advise you that you have your computer with you, because we are going to be doing a lot of practical things. Actually, from today moving forward, we're going to be doing a lot of practical things where I'm going to be sharing my screen as I am doing right now, so that you're able to see exactly what I'm doing and the things that we are, the kind of things that we are working on. So before I begin the live stream, I just want to welcome everybody who has come. George was the first one to comment. Good morning, Anthony. I'm ready and waiting. Karibu sana. I'm really happy that you're here, ready and waiting. Let me just read a few of the other comments that are there already. David Omato, I know I'm going to need you to do the website for me. Duty calls, I'm closely following. David, thank you so much for coming to watch the webinar, and I'd advise you to, if you feel that this is something we can do for you, let me probably mention that Deep Africa designs websites. That's what we do. Part of what we do is designing websites and doing web hosting. So if you feel that the things that we are discussing here are probably outside of your field of competency, or that you don't have enough time to do it, even though you may have learned how to do it, we can do it for you. So the way you do it is just going to deepafrica.com and just starting a message on the live chat. Somebody is going to assist you from there, and we have live agents that are ready first to assist you. Actually, the reason why they are here today is to assist you with any of the other inquiries that you have. But over and above that, we are going to be having people who may be interested in either purchasing hosting, which we're going to talk about today, or getting a domain name, which they may not already have had, or getting a website designed for them. Then that's something you may want to try out. And so just go to deepafrica.com and start a live chat, and somebody will be ready to assist you. All right, I'd like us to get started. Thank you both. You're saying that you are with us today. Thank you so much. Calgary, thank you so much for coming in. Unasema tuko pamoja. Thank you. Morning, everyone. That's Cecil, Nigel Cecil. I saw you yesterday, so thank you so much for coming in today as well. We're really excited to have you. So I'd like us to begin today's live stream, and because we have a lot to cover. We have a lot of ground to cover, and I only have 1 hour to cover through this. Again, I'll just take a moment to introduce who Deep Africa is. We are an online solutions company that provides different kinds of solutions. Some of them include the things we are going to be talking about today, web hosting and web design. But we also have a system that is called Gionta POS. You can go to pos.gionta.com, and that's an inventory system that allows you to be able to manage your inventory as somebody who is managing like a shop that has inventory to be managed. That system is there to help you manage better. And a lot of other things. So again, if you're interested to know more about us, you can go to deepafrica.com and you can learn more about the kind of services we provide. But because that's not the reason why you came, let's dive right into it so that I can teach you how to design a website. Now, again, I want to mention, just as I did before, that the goal of this webinar is that by the end of it, you will have built a website. Now, let me mention something. weddingdress.co.ke, if you can probably go there just to see that I am we are on the same place. This website is blank. This is a blank site that has nothing on it, and by the end of this week, it's going to have a website there that is ready for the public's use, hopefully, if everything goes well. And that's why we're here. Now, the reason I'm doing this live with you and working with you to do this is because I want to show you that it's actually possible to build a website yourself. And so I'm going to be beginning from scratch, just as you are doing. And yesterday we had an assignment. I hope you carried out the assignment. The assignment was to build out the content for your page. I showed you how to use images. I showed you how to prepare the text. Now, today we are going to be setting the foundation. So, foundation of this particular website. So I'm going to show you how I got to this particular place where I have a domain and web hosting ready for it. Though it looks blank, it already has the foundation. Well, part of the foundation is already laid for it. And so that's what we're going to be covering. So let's just look at what's there for us today. What are we going to be covering today? The first is we're going to talk about setting the foundation. Setting the foundation of the website has a number of pieces. First is our web hosting and domain for your business. The second is setting the next foundation, which is the system we are going to be using to build the website. And that system has quite a bit of it. So you can see in these WordPress, and it has quite a bit of things in here. Now, this is a lot of content to cover within the amount of time that we have. And so I want to just ask you to get ready, get brace. We're going to do a lot of practicals. If you get lost, we have a number of moderators. The moderators are people who have who are in blue, or is that purple? Who are in the color, I think that should be like dark blue, light purple. I'm sure someone will correct me there who probably knows colors better. So they have that color, they are colored, their names are colored, and they have a gear. Like a spanner on the right hand side. Those are moderators. They can assist you. You can ask them questions just in case you are you're out there and you need some assistance. I'm noticing Lynette Morgan is here. Karibu sana. Yes, we are sure. Yes, thank you for that comment, Lynette. You're saying that you did not know how to pronounce the word webinar, and now you do. I see Design Jungle Ltd from Uganda. Adrian from Uganda. Karibu sana, Adrian. We are happy to have you here. It's quite a pleasure to have someone from the other side of the border. So karibu sana. All right, sawa. Thank you so much. So let's begin. We are going to be talking about, we talked about setting the foundation. So let's talk about what this is. For every website, any website that you ever create, it loads on a domain name. It loads on a domain name. For instance, you'd load it on, let's say for instance, the domain name that I have right now, weddingdress.co.ke. Now, weddingdress.co.ke is a domain name, but there are several components to a domain name. The first is having the name itself. So I would say the name is like a number plate. The number plate of a vehicle, it identifies that vehicle. So when you're seeing a vehicle passing by, there are very many vehicles like it. But the way you identify that particular vehicle is by its number plate. And when you go to the government records, that number plate is also attached to other documents that are in there that tell you who is the owner of the vehicle. And when you find out the owner of the vehicle, there are other things that are entailed around it. But the vehicle itself is identified by its number plate. So in this very same way, a website is identified by its domain name. So a domain name is essentially a name followed by a dot, then either two dots, either it's .co.ke or .com. Those are the most popular domain names in Kenya. For Uganda, like for Adrian, who is in Uganda, you probably are using .ug.ke. And that may also then be the most popular in Uganda. And so the popular domain names are normally the .coms. .coms are most popular. There are a lot of other domain names that exist out there, but .com is quite popular for companies. The .org is quite popular for NGOs and non-profit organizations. .ac, .ke, and .edu, edu are popular for education institutions. The thing about that, by the .ac, .ke, and .sc, sc like school, sc.ke are domain names that you will have to you generally have to get a certificate. You can't just register it just like that. You have to show that you're actually a registered education institution. So that's that. There are many different kinds of domain names. For the kinds of businesses that we are in right now, the kind of businesses that we have, the thing that we most likely have is going to either use a .com or a .co.ke. And so, oh, it's, sorry, thank you, Lucy. It's .co.ug. Yeah, so .co.ug. So that's those are the domain names that exist. So most of the businesses, especially let's say you are a Kenyan business, you would know most likely if you don't have any ambitions of getting outside of the country as a business, you don't want to expand outside of your region. Let's say you're in Uganda, .co.ug is available for you, and you probably don't want to expand outside. I would advise that you actually keep the .co.ug. If you're planning to become a global business, a business that is like in many different parts of the world, then I'd advise you to have a .com. When choosing a .com, then it means that you are actually recognized as a global brand. Another thing about it is if you do not have any specific country that you want to be aligned to, don't use the country specific domain name like .co.ug, .co.ke. Don't use that, because when somebody looks at that domain name on Google, they are going to actually assume that you are a business located in that country, and they are only going to assume the information there is only for that country. That's the same reason why, for us as Deep Africa, we chose to have a .com domain. That deepafrica.com is the way that we chose to brand ourselves. Now, the thing about your business, if you have a large business, you want to be careful about the domain name, the domain extension you choose, because you may choose the .com and become very popular, and then the .co.ke was available and somebody takes it. So I would advise you that if you have a business that is growing, I would advise you to take all of the domain names, all of them together. Take the .co.ke, take the .com, but choose one that you're going to be using. Now, again, most of the people who are watching this are small businesses, and so for that reason, I understand that you may not be in a position to buy all of those domains, and that's okay. I understand that. So let's just stick to either .com and .co.ke and choose one, and you go with it, which is what I've done for wedding dresses. Now, wedding dresses, I'm setting up this fictitious business called Wedding Dress. So Wedding Dress, this business in Kenya is mainly going to be serving the Kenyan audience. And so I want people, when they are looking at the domain, to assume that this is a Kenyan website. This is a Kenyan domain, this is a Kenyan website and a Kenyan business. So that's that. So the other thing is, when you're picking a domain name, you need to be careful what kind of domain name you're choosing. The domain name needs to be aligned with the name of your business. Let's say your business is, for instance, Design Jungle from Adrian from Uganda. Design Jungle, I hope that your business domain name is designjungle.co.ug or designjungle.com, because if your business has one name and has a different domain name, that may be a problem. The same way, like for instance, if your business is identified as, let's say, like Paddy Patrick, who is saying that he's in. So let's say it's Paddy Patrick That's the way your business is called. And you probably deal in hardware. It may not be a good idea to call your business like hardware.co.ke because people already know it as Paddy Patrick, and so use the name that you have registered with the government, or the name that you'd want to be recognized as is the name that you should use. So if you're going to go for Hardware Incorporated, then you may probably need to rebrand to Hardware Incorporated. And that's something to think about. The other thing about picking a domain name, be careful that that domain name is not a domain name that is too complicated. It should not have like double letters. For instance, when picking this domain name, I had an option of choosing weddinggown.co.ke, but you notice that when I type wedding gown.co.ke, you'll notice that that domain name has has two G's. Weddinggown.co.ke, and that's not a good domain name because people may get confused about it. When they're looking at it, they may wonder what exactly does wedding gown does the wedding gown, like, will it have one G or double G when typing out their domain name? So you want it to be something that people can be able to type easily without them getting confused. Again, some other rules about using domain name is that you should not use dashes, like wedding gown, like wedding dash gown may not be a good idea. Okay, so now with that, let's talk about domain names. We've talked about domain names are the number plates. Now how about hosting? Now a vehicle cannot be just the number plate. The number plate is what identifies it, but the vehicle cannot be just the number plate. The number plate is something that identifies the vehicle itself. And so in this analogy of a domain and hosting, the domain is a number plate, the vehicle is the hosting, is the actual thing, where all the files are stored, where the website is located, where emails come to. So for instance, if I have anthony@weddingdress.co.ke, yes, it's pointed to the domain name, but the domain name is not what receives that email. It's a web hosting server that receives that email. So what is a web hosting server? A web hosting server is a computer, basically a computer that is storing a lot of information, and it's located, it's always on. It's a computer that is always on, storing a lot of information for a particular business. That's the simplest way I can be able to put it. And so it's able to communicate with other computers, and that's the way you're able to even send emails and things like those, and that's the way that would work. So I think I've covered domain names and what's the difference between domain name and hosting. I hope they are I don't know whether you have any questions. If you do have any questions, please ask them. I'm more than happy to answer them about what the difference between a domain and hosting. But because we have a lot to cover today, I will move on. And in case you have a question and it jumps at me, I'm going to be able to answer that. Okay. Let's now look at purchasing a domain name. Now, when purchasing a domain name, it's actually quite easy. If you can go with me, you can follow with me. If you're going to be following with me in the next couple of days, you probably want to follow these steps to the very end. Even if you're not going to follow with me to the very end, even if you already have a domain name, and you probably want to learn how to purchase it. Our systems are fully automated. You're going to be taken to how to do it to the very end, and so you can follow with me. If you're purchasing, you can continue to payment at the end. If you're not, then you can actually just watch along and probably try it out for yourself and see whether it works. So you just would go to hosting, web hosting. Let's do it together. When we get to web hosting, you basically want to pick one of the packages. Now we have a number of different packages with different specifications. Again, this is on Deep Africa web hosting. I would pick the Kwanza package, because the website that we're building is more than sufficient. It's going to be enough for the things that we are going to be building. So one of the things that is really important is how much space is available, and we offer unlimited web space for your website, so that's going to be good. And will it have an SSL? An SSL is basically, you see this padlock here that shows that your connection is secure, that will the website have an SSL? And the answer is yes. And so most of the things that we will need for a small website, we already have them. We already have them within the Kwanzaa package. So that's what you're going to purchase. So I'm going to click on order now. It's going to take me to request me for a domain. Now, this is where you try to look for the domain name. And in this case, I'm looking for wedding dress. Let's see whether it's going to be found. .co.ke, or in this case, not .co.ke because it has this extension here. So I'm just going to add the name wedding dress. And I'll check whether it's available. Now, once you check if it's available, you're going to notice that, for instance, since this domain name is already registered, weddingdress.co.ke is already registered, then it will be found to be unavailable. So once you find a domain that probably you had domain names in your mind that you thought would be available or not, then one of the options you have is having a domain name modifier. So wedding dress Kenya, that may be a modifier that may help you find a domain name that is available for you. Because again, I told you, you want to use your business name. If your domain name is not available in the .coms, especially for .coms, it's almost impossible to find some of the brandable names. Like weddingdress.com, I'm sure it's taken. I don't even need to search for it. I know it's taken. So for instance, if then I want to have a .com domain name, then I would say wedding dress, and I want to still use the same name. So wedding dress Kenya, then choose .com, and you'll notice that weddingdresskenya.com is available, but wedding dress on its own is not. So that's the thing about domain names. You can have a domain name modifier because like saying wedding dress Kenya, is still, that then modifies it. Now be careful that you do not use business names of other people because if you then went out to like still, let's say Coca-Cola Kenya.co.ke, you may find that domain name available, but the thing is, you will never be able to use it because you'll be infringing the trademark of someone else. And so even if you set up a website there, they can probably go after you, which is something you probably don't want. So that's that. So let's go for wedding dress Kenya.com. Let's choose that as the website we're going to, the demo we're going to use, so that I can show you how to do it. Well, once you find it available, you're just going to scroll to the bottom and click on continue. Now, if you're having any of the issues, if you're doing this with me and you're having issues and you want to proceed to the very end, you can start a chat with us here and we'll be able to assist you with any challenges that you may be facing. So you're going to, now we're buying Kwanzaa hosting solution version 2.0. And it has that. So you can choose to either buy it annually or for 3 years, which is triannually for this, and it's going to give us that result. Then we can click on continue. So it's going to give us a summary of what our checkout is, that we are getting Kwanzaa hosting. Now remember the things I talked about, that you're going to get hosting, which is the thing that carries your website files and everything, but also then going to be having the domain name registration. Now for us, we bundle them together, and so you can see it's bundled together, that the price is $2,900 plus VAT without the domain name cost. And that's the way it normally would go with us. And so let's check out. Now when checking out, we're going to be asked to fill a number of details here. Let's create a fake profile so that we see. I won't have an email to register it with, but let's see how far it goes. So would fill in the details of, like, let's say a street address, PO Box 123 Nairobi City, Nairobi State, Nairobi 01000. How did you get to find us? Webinar. And then I'd add a password in there. Let's fill that password in there. Please choose a security question. What was your childhood nickname? It was Deep Africa. And then I would have an option. Now, the thing about us, and one of the advantages that many of our clients have, is that when you're purchasing web hosting with us, you don't need to use like your credit card or debit card to set this up. You can be able to do this using M-Pesa. And so that's a great thing about hosting with a local company. And I've clicked on order now, and so what it does is that it's going to prompt me to with an invoice. There's an invoice that is going to be created, and this invoice will have like details on how to pay using M-Pesa. It just basically gives you the details. So once you pay via M-Pesa, it is going to actually activate instantly your hosting account. Well, now let me explain something about the domain name. Now, once you purchase the domain name, the thing about it is that you're going to have a period of about 30 minutes to 1 hour called propagation. Now, propagation is where your domain name has just been born, and the whole world needs to get to know that you have been, a new domain name now exists, and it exists on Deep Africa's servers. So what happens is, again, I'm trying to make it simple. Your server location, basically your domain name, gets sent to servers around the world. And let me not make it complex by going to something called NS, a way of checking whether a domain name has propagated. But one of the ways, actually, let me just show you propagation checker. Actually, you can just Google propagation checker, just in case you feel like your domain is, you're finding that it's not active and you just paid for it. This is what you can do. So for instance, let's use my domain name here, weddingdress.co.ke. So I would enter it there, weddingdress.co.ke, and I would click, I would click on NS. NS is name servers. And I would click on that, name servers, and you will notice that the domain name is resolved on almost every location. That means that my domain name has been sent to all of these places. It's been sent to, this is Mountain View, California. It's in South Africa. It is in Shenzhen, China. It is in Australia. So all of these places, it means that they have my domain name. And that's the reason why I'm able to load it here. That's the reason I'm able to load it here. Now, if you notice a lot of red marks, because like some of these places have not indexed, have not like listed my domain name. It's not been seen in some of these places. If you see red X's everywhere, it's most likely that it's not been resolved. It's not been propagated in many places. Now, that's a bit complex. Sorry if I've gone a bit too far, but I hope I've not lost you along the way. Sawa. So let's get back here. So that's the way you purchase a domain name and hosting with us. Now, once you have your domain name and hosting, the next thing that you need to do is to log into it. Now, once you've purchased, something that you're going to receive are credentials. You're going to be sent credentials that will allow you to log in to the back end. And now, for all of you who are following along and you already have a domain name, with us, I'd like to request you to get your domain name open like this, like have it open like the way I've done mine, weddingdress.co.ke, because you're now going to start being practical and start doing practical things. Now, the first thing you do is go to your domain name /cpanel. That's CPANEL. Your domain name /cpanel. I'm just typing that out on the chat so you can see it. Like for instance, mine is weddingdress.co.ke/cpanel. Now, cPanel is the way that you set up. Having /cPanel on your account means the cPanel is control panel. It's the way that you manage the back end of your website. It's the way that you're going to use to set up a lot of things. This is a very important place, and you need to be careful about how you use it, careful about who gets access to the details that you are provided. So there's an email that you are sent, and that email has a domain name and hosting credentials. It also has like a username and password for it. So you need to be careful about it, use it wisely, because you do not want that those credentials to get lost or get in the wrong hands. And so I'll log in with mine. You'll enter your domain name and hosting. Your username and password. And it will open you up to this. Now, for anyone who is new to all of these things, again, this is a beginner series. It's a beginner series that teaches you how to design a website. So you do not need to know all of the things that are here. There are many, they are complex, they may seem intimidating. You don't need to care about them. Do not concentrate on how many they are. It may be overwhelming. Don't allow it to overwhelm you. I'm going to guide you step by step on what we need to do, but do not allow it to overwhelm you. So let's do the first one. We want to the first step. Let's get back to our list. We want to log in to cPanel. That's we've done. Then let's create an email, because again, you have a business. You probably just set up a domain name and hosting for it, and you want to have an official email address. So the way you set up an email is just come here and just type email. You'll find, it will filter out for you the things that you should have. So you click on email accounts. Once you click on email accounts, it will take you to this panel. Now we want to create a new email. So we create that. We've clicked on create. I hope I'm not going too fast. Let's create Anthony at weddingdress.co.ke, and then so for security we want to generate a password, so create a password there. Or the other option you will have, and this is a new one, is that you can have an email that has a password configuration link, and you can enter an email that you already have. So for instance, if you have a Gmail email, you can set that here, and the person who is going to be setting up the email will receive instructions on how to do that, how to log in and create their own password. This is a great feature because it means you're not creating a password that looks like that. But again, one of the things you need to be careful about is that your password needs to be strong, and it's going to tell you like how strong your password is. So for instance, if the password is just that long, it's going to tell you that it's very weak, and so you need to have a strong password. But again, that's not what we came to do. So let's move forward with that. You want to set up like how much storage you want for the emails to have. Do you want to have folders created? Again, you leave most of these things the same way they are, because it doesn't really, the defaults should work for you. As long as you've just entered the name Anthony here, and I've either set a password or have set the way for you to be sent the password, you just click create. I don't want to leave, I actually want to create a password, so let's generate. So we've generated a password, and let's create. And so once you've created, now the dangerous thing about the way I'm doing it right here is because the whole world, aka you, are seeing what I'm doing. So I'll need to delete this so that someone does not start trying to log into it. So that's the way you create it, and it's that simple. So once you create it, you can be able to log in. And again, we have tutorials on this channel on how to log into to your email so that you can be able to set it up. We have a way of being able to even sync them up with your phone, sync them up with Gmail. They're on this channel. If you want to find that out, just go and look for them on the tutorial section. So once you've created an email, you can come back to cPanel itself. Now the reason we are creating an email is not because we're going to use it during the process of building our website, but I think it's a really important thing to have an actual business email that you use, not just Gmail. And that's one of the biggest advantages of having a domain name and hosting. Even if you do not have a website, you can actually be able to set up an email like the way we've done, and there it is. You can be able to see that for yourself and do that for yourself. So if you already have a domain name and hosting, or you've purchased one now as we are walking through, the first thing you need to do is have an official email, because I mean, what else can you do? I think that's the best thing to have. All right. Now, we want to create the foundation. Again, I don't want to get lost here. We want to start getting into creating the foundation of the website. We first set the domain name. Let me just close that here. We've just set the domain name and created the hosting for it. The next thing we want to do is install the foundation of what we're going to be building on. Now, Deep Africa, for those who are more experienced out there, who understand these things a bit more, you know that there are many ways of building websites. There's HTML, there's a lot of other ways. But the way I'm going to be showing you today is what I consider easiest for a beginner. It's the most easy and the most flexible for a beginner who is just starting out. And that is called WordPress. So depending on the kind of cPanel you're using, you can just come and type WordPress. That's W-O-R-D. And in this case, this server does not have that particular configuration. So the next thing you can do, instead of searching for WordPress, which I think all of our servers should have this next method I'm showing you, which is Softaculous. Then all you need to do is just type the word soft, and it's going to show you the options that are available. Now, this is available here, Softaculous App Installer. That basically it's an app installer. You're installing an application on your device, on your web hosting, and the application is called WordPress. Now, WordPress is an engine that does a lot of things. It's an engine that is used for blogging. It's an engine that is used to build websites. Again, it's really good because you do not need to know how to code to be able to use it. Somebody who, like for you who are complete beginners, do not need to understand coding at all for you to be able to use it. So let's go ahead. So we want to do install now. Okay, installing now. Now in the installing section, you have a number of options. I'm going to guide you on each of them individually, because this can get slightly confusing if we do not understand what's happening. Now, you're going to leave most of the settings as they are, in the default way that they are, especially for some of the setup sections. But basically, let me cover each section. Which version do you want to install? You want to install the latest version that is available. So in this case, the latest version is 5.3.2. That's the version available. Do you want to install it on HTTPS or HTTP? The difference between these two is that the HTTPS is a secure, like having an SSL. HTTP does not have an SSL, but then you also can choose whether you want it to be www before your domain name, like www.weddingdress.co.ke, or just weddingdress.co.ke. And for me, I normally like having it just as HTTPS, which was the default originally. Now, where do you want to install this? Now, the reason why this is available is you can install multiple different WordPresses in your website, and so that's something that's something a bit more advanced. So we're just going to leave it just as is. So leave the default settings as they are. I was just explaining what they are. Now, the site settings, you want to change this. You want to change this to the name of your business. So you want to change this, for my case, it's Wedding Dress. Wedding Dress is Kenya. Let's choose a tag for that perfect. Making that day perfect. Let's make it that. Okay, so that's that. You just type those two. Leave this as it is. Do not check it. Let it remain blank as it was. Now choose a domain name. No, not a domain name. A username for you're creating the username that you're going to be using to get into it. Someone is asking, and I think this is an important question. Again, not that the rest of the questions are not important, but this one jumped at me because it may cause you a lot of error. Okay, increase the size. Okay, it's not very clear. If it's not very clear, I can like zoom in. I apologize if that it wasn't very clear. I think that's big. That's big enough. Okay, so someone was asking here, can I reinstall the WordPress for an already existing website without corrupting it? Now, you can, but that's a bit more complex. It's a bit more higher level. If that's where you are right now, you need to probably chat with one of our people directly for them to guide you on how to do it, because you have to remove the website itself, the website files, and you also have to remove the database that is in there. A bit more complex than for a beginner. So if you don't understand how to do it, please ask someone to assist you. Just go to deepafrica.com. Okay, Captain Cargo, thank you. I'll go a bit slower. I apologize. So I was answering Nigel. Can you reinstall WordPress if you already have an existing website? I would advise that you get advice from some of our representatives. They are able to share a screen with you and be able to guide you. So if you don't mind, just getting to deepafrica.com, starting a chat, or calling us if you're in Kenya or even outside, if you're able to do this, calling us on 0712 500 500 plus 254 712 500 500. So if you do that, you're going to be able to guide you. Just call them. It may get slightly busy, so that's why I'm advising you to chat, and you're going to get assistance. Especially for you, Nigel, please call and get assistance for that. The other option you have is creating a subdomain, just in case you are trying to play around and see how it works. Create a subdomain. Go back to create a subdomain. You can just find a YouTube video on how to do that. And when you get to this section here, you make it like you choose a subdomain. So when, like, let's say new dot, if your subdomain is new dot, you're going to be able to choose in between it here and continue with your installation. Okay, Captain Cargo was saying HTTP is unsecure. Oh yeah, too fast. Difference between HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP is not secure. It is not secure. It does not have SSL ingrained in it, and that means that your website will not be secure. And that's normally if you're not being given a free SSL like the ones we provide for you as Deep Africa, then you want to have it as HTTP because you don't have an SSL installed on your domain name. But if you have an SSL provided for you by your web hosting provider, like the way we do for us, then you would choose to have HTTPS. So if you are on a Deep Africa server, like if you've gone along with me the way we did it, you want to choose HTTPS because we install SSLs automatically. So that's something you probably want to think about. I hope your question is answered, Captain Cargo. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. Misati Realtors, how does one go in creating a sitemap? We are going to talk about sitemaps soon. Probably, I believe that should be tomorrow. We're going to create a sitemap for the website. So right now, we are not there yet. We're going to create that soon. It's part of like what we were talking about in the planning stage yesterday. Part of the content that you'll have in there is what is going to inform the sitemap that we're going to have. So we are not yet there. We are going to be covering that soon. Okay, I hope I'm not going too fast. I apologize if I do. Please stop me if I'm going too fast. Stop me if I'm going too fast. Okay. Where were we? We were at the site name. So Deep Africa, sorry, just making sure this is large enough, just looking at how big it is. So Wedding Dress Kenya. Make that day perfect. Making that day perfect as the site description. we want to leave the multi-site as not checked. And then the other thing we want to do is to choose a username. So the username needs to be something that is not just admin, because admin is what everyone uses. It may not be the most secure for you to use. So I will advise you that you use your own personal name. Like for instance, for this I can use Anthony as the password for it, as a username, and then I'm going to create a password. admin@weddingdresses.com. Now I'm going to create a password. So one way of creating a random password, and I would advise that you create for this, is like clicking on the key, and the key is going to give you like a password, and that is of significant strength. Now I personally use a password manager, and that's what I'm going to use with me. I use a password manager called LastPass. LastPass is a really good password manager. So I want to create a secure password that is, for my case, I want to create 49 characters long. That's because I'm paranoid and I do not want to, I'm afraid of hackers, and I'm most likely going to change this password. So please don't try using it. Again, you use your own Gmail email address here for the admin email. I'm going to leave it this way just because we are doing a demonstration. And then choose your language, leave the rest of the things to be default, just the way they are. Do not change the things that are there. Just leave it as it is and click install. Now once you click install, it's going to start saying that it's submitting data. It's going to start creating the installation. Now once that installation is goes through, let's see. Captain Cargo, I'm happy I assisted. Karibu sana. Captain Cargo was asking whether I've answered his question well, and yes, he's happy with it. So it's basically what it's doing right now is that it's installing the WordPress installation. Now this sometimes can take several minutes to do. Sometimes it goes faster. It depends on a number of factors, and so let's wait for it to finish up. Something I probably would want to talk about as we are thinking about all of this is that WordPress is not something that is something that is very versatile. It has a lot of different things that you can do with it. You can be able to do like install an e-commerce website. You can be able to like create an e-commerce website. Like really big organizations run on WordPress. You can be able to create a blog like the one I showed you yesterday. You can be able to create a website like the one we're going to create today. So it's very versatile, and it's used by a lot of users out there to create websites. So WordPress is a very versatile tool. There are many other tools out there, but I found it to be the easiest to use. Now once it has shown you like what's available, sorry, I apologize. Once it has like gone through the whole installation process, you'll be shown this. Now, one way of quickly logging into WordPress is that you can click on the WP admin, like click on that domain name there. Now remember what I showed you. If you click on this mouse wheel, just press on it to click it. For instance, I'm trying to do it live with me showing you my mouse. There it is. If I click on it, it opens a new tab, as you can see here. So that's something you can probably be able to use. And so it's opened an installation of a WordPress account, and that WordPress account is already like installed with basically the most of the functionality you'll need. We are going to add quite a number of things in here, and so let me show you how we are going to do that. But one of the things to think about is you want to be able to gain access later on. Just in case you're not able to gain access to your WordPress website, you can come back, you can log into cPanel the way you had logged in before. And once you log into cPanel, you can go to WordPress, Softaculous, there we are. Click on WordPress, and it's going to show you the installations that you have. And if you click on this icon here, it's going to take you to this place. So just in case you've forgotten your WordPress password and you have your cPanel credentials available, you can log in by going to that and clicking on that. It will take you straight to getting into the WordPress installation. Now, we want to create basically be able to log in. Sorry, losing my train of thought here for a minute. I'm trying to multitask. We are going to want to create a website from this, and based on what you've seen so far, there are a number of things that are on the left-hand side, and a number of things that are in here. Not very complicated, but it's something that you probably want to play around with. There's nothing that you can actually completely break at this point, so just navigate to any one of those sections, just look at the way they look, and examine how exactly, what exactly is in there, what the things that are available. You'll need to excuse me for a minute as I do something quick. Okay, so you just navigate around it, just see what's there, see what's available on all of these sections, and we're going to cover many of them, some of them today, some of them as we proceed with the lessons. So just navigate around it, you'll find a lot of really useful things in there. So now, if you want to log into your WordPress account, how should you log into it? How do you make sure that you're able to access the WordPress WordPress account when you're coming in? So the way you do it, now notice, let's first, you remember the way it was looking before, weddingdress.co.ke. Now you can notice how it looks right now. We have installed WordPress and now it looks slightly different. It has the name of the business, the slogan, and a default WordPress installation put in here. So how do you log into your WordPress installation? You just go in and say admin. That's one way. And if we click on that, it's going to take you to a place where you can enter your domain and your username and password. But the standard way of logging in is doing WP admin. I hope you got that. WP admin. That's let me show you. Let me just get that WP admin. I'll just post that on the comments just so that you're able to know how that goes. WP admin. There we are. So WP admin allows you to log in, and that's where we are at right now. So I want to enter my the credentials for this particular account. So give me a minute as I pull them from where I installed them. So we want to log in. We want to log into to the admin that we created. Just a moment. Okay. Again, I probably need to do that so that I'm able to access it. Apologies for the silence. We're about to get back to logging in. I just want to get them available, get my credentials available. Now again, you remember I told you that we are going to do this with you live so that you can be able to see it as I would set it up. Okay, so here we go. All right, here we go. So I use my name is Anthony. and I put in my password. Just a moment, one more moment. All right, we should be okay now. I entered that, I put that as my password. And there we are, we've gotten in. So the way you get in is WP admin / no, like your domain name, which is weddingdress.co.ke / WP admin, and that should give you direct access to your account. Yes, so Design Jungle is asking whether you can change the tab to something else other than WP admin. Yes, it's possible, a bit more advanced than what we're using, but what I normally use is iTheme Security. That helps, that does a good job of changing that. Someone is asking whether the charge includes VAT, like tax. Yes, it does, for anyone purchasing within Kenya. Okay, perfect. So let's proceed. I know we are about to exceed our 1 hour. As I mentioned before, this is supposed to be a 1 hour webinar, but if we need to expand and just basically finish what we had planned to do for the day, then we are going to. So right now, we are in logging in, and we've logged into WordPress and how to basically log into WordPress. So the general structure of WordPress, as I've said, I've told you to navigate around it, but let me explain something that is really critical for you to know. Now, WordPress has several sections, like several things you need to know. The most important is that there are posts. Posts are normally like like things that would come. Let me give you an example using a site that I have access to. Let's even use Deepafrica. Deepafrica.com. So with Deepafrica.com, there are posts like the news articles that are there, like, but then there are also pages. So for instance, the pages. Let's navigate down here. That these are pages. That a page basically is an evergreen content. So like web hosting is a page on its own, and if you go to deepafrica.com /blog, you will find that there are posts that are here, and posts are usually like not the same as pages. Posts are usually like news items. Now, WordPress was initially created to be a publishing tool for journalists, and so it differentiated like posts and pages. Pages being evergreen content like the home page, the contact page, about sections, and the posts being like the news articles that keep on getting refreshed. Now, what you're going to be doing, you'll need to be creating your posts, your pages. The pages that we're going to be creating, they need to be pages, not posts. So there are posts here that has the same thing, add new, and there are pages here that is add new. And so you want to be careful not to create your pages, the pages we're going to be creating within the post section, because they're not going to display in the very same way as when you display them within the pages section. Now, the other thing about it is that WordPress allows you to add functionality to it using things called plugins. So right now, as it is, you can actually be able to see that it's actually a website that is there. You can see that it's a website that you're able to see it. It's a website here, but it does not have all the functionality that we want our website to have. So the thing that we want to do is install plugins and install themes that are going to change the way this website is going to look, so it looks much better than the way it does right now, and has a lot more functionality. So so the thing is, once you have installed WordPress the way it is right now, you want to come and add new plugins. Now, plugins, as I've said, let me actually differentiate between plugins and pages, plugins and themes. So plugins add functionality to your website. Themes change the way your website looks. And so we first want to add plugins. So let's just navigate to the plugins section and say add new. The reason why we want to add plugins is because we want to build a website that will not be complex to build. So the way you add plugins is that you go to plugins, add new, then search for a few plugins that I'm going to recommend. The first is called Elementor. The second, that's Elementor. The second is called, just a moment, I need to refer to my notes. Well, there are a number of other plugins, so we're going to get there, but I think the Elementor is the most important one. Let's first begin with that. Elementor, so let's type Elementor. Elementor to Elementor. I was just reading a few of the comments. I'm sure you're getting quite a bit of assistance from the people or the moderators. So once you come to Elementor, just click on install now. And so it's going to install that within your own website. Within, like right now I'm installing it within weddingdresses.co.ke. If any one of you is lost, if you feel that I'm moving very fast, one of the challenges that I have is that I have people who are a bit advanced who probably want to move a bit faster. But because this is a webinar for new businesses, if you feel that you are moving too fast, please stop me, because I want you to understand exactly how to move forward. Now we have an error. Interesting. This is the first time I've seen one of these ones in a long time. And so don't let it scare you. That's something that happens sometimes when building websites. Let's just refresh. There may be something that has triggered that. So we just want to refresh. And it shows that this has been, the plugin had been installed. Let's see whether it installed properly. Now the thing is, when an error like that comes, it probably may not be a good idea to just keep it as is, because it's most likely that the error there are some corrupted files that may have come in. So what we need to do is just go to install plugins and just deactivate it. So once you deactivate, what you need to do is delete. Now let me delete all the plugins that are in here, because these are the default ones that are here. So the way you do that is click on the delete button. And I'm deleting the Elementor I've just installed. The reason being, because it produced an error, there may be something that has happened either on those guys' server or within my server, a configuration thing that may have happened. So I would just want to make sure that I have a clean installation of Elementor. So I'll go to Elementor. Again, just search for it and click enter. And it's going to bring this Elementor page builder. Now let me say something about plugins. For any beginner, there are many plugins out there on WordPress. You want to make sure that you're using a plugin that has a lot of people who have used it. So like this particular one has 4 million active installations. So anything that has somewhere above 200,000 users is something that you can trust. And because there are some people who create like duplicates, you want to choose the one that has the most installs, because that most likely is the one that is the right one. So I'm going to click on install again on this. Let's see whether it pulls that same error again. So when you're installing a plugin, you just want to make sure that one of the things that I normally do is like try and create as few plugins as possible, because when I have a lot of plugins in my website, it most likely is going to create more opportunities for problems to come up in the future. So install as few as possible. So part of the reason why I use Elementor specifically is because Elementor is easy to use. It is developed by a company that has a lot of money backing it, so they do a lot of updates, and they are keen on protecting their reputation, so they are going to like reduce the probability of them being hacked by researching a lot on security. And then again, Elementor, I can be able to use it to do a lot of things together. And so I don't need to install many plugins when I have Elementor. That's the reason why I choose it. You can choose other tools, but for me, Elementor works pretty well. And so you notice that it installed well without any issues. And so I created that. I just said like activate, and it's now been activated. And you notice that it's been activated. Now, and now that Elementor has been activated, you may wonder, has anything happened to the website? No, it's still the same. It's still looking the same way it was. Now that Elementor is created, it's just the engine that is going to help us change the entire of the website, but nothing has changed so far. So let's get back here. We want to, let's just make sure that we have, so how to install a plugin. So we've installed the plugin called Elementor. That's the basic way that you install plugins. Now, the way that you install a theme is you come to Appearance, then Themes. Now you remember I told you, themes are the things that change the way your website looks generally, and plugins are the things that change the way your website functions. And so we installed a plugin called Elementor that is going to help increase a bit of the functions, but we also want to add a theme that is going to cause our website to look the way we want it to look. And so the theme that I want to advise, the theme that I would advise for any beginner who wants to use this, wants to use it without any issues, I would advise that you install a theme called Astra. And I'll type that out. I've given the name Astra. Just in the comments, you can be able to find it. Now, when we come to themes, like appearance themes, you'll find a lot of themes in here. Now, part of standard hygiene for myself as a web designer, I like keeping all of the themes that I'm not using away. So I like deleting any theme that is not there, is not being used. So for instance, I am using, I want to use Astra, and so I'm deleting everything else. Even this 2020 theme I'm going to delete once I install Astra, because I just want to keep one theme and as few plugins as possible. This will help in security, making sure that my website is more secure than if I had a lot of plugins in there, and more efficient. So once you are at themes here, I hope I'm not moving too fast. I would add new in the theme, and I would come and do Astra. Now someone is asking, as compared to WP Bakery. Now I've used WP Bakery and I do not like it. I have found it to be very, well, it's old technology. It's the way, it was a standard way of building websites a few years ago. Right now, I used it more recently. I don't know whether what I used probably was outdated, but WP Bakery was formerly the Visual Composer. And Visual Composer was really good before things like, before themes like Elementor, before systems like Elementor and Divi came. But after that, especially if you are just a basic user, Boss Kwang is asking that I increase the size. Now, I may not be able to increase this size too much, but I'll try to make it more visible. So the thing that I normally use, I don't like using WP Bakery because it has too many small, minute functionalities and not as easy to use as Elementor and Divi are for me. So if you're using Divi is paid, that's the reason I've not recommended it for this. Elementor also has a paid version, but the version we're using right now is free, and that's the reason I'm recommending it for small businesses. But if you have a bit of money and you want to invest in something that will help you work quickly, for me, I would actually say that Divi is the best for any person who has a bit of money to invest and would want to build a website quickly. Divi is your best option, but you will have to pay an amount to use it. The way you spell Divi is D-I-V-I. D-I-V-I. And it's a really good theme, but you will need to pay something, either like a lifetime license or a single-use license. So that's that. So Astra, here is Astra. We have looked for Astra and clicked on install. So it's saying that it's active. And there it is. So we are activating it. Now the theme is active. Before we just go to see how it looks, I just want to delete the other theme that was there. So we're just left with just one, just Astra on here. So let's now go to, like, you hover on this, then click on visit site. You will notice that the site right now looks different. Now it looks different, doesn't look the way it was looking before. Don't worry, we're still going towards building the website, but I'm sure it's taking more form than the way it was before. You remember it was just showing index of, and right now we've made a bit of progress that is showing something new, and that's a beautiful thing. It's great. We've made quite a bit of progress. So what we've done, we have installed, the Elementor page builder. We've also installed Astra, which are two theme and plugin that work together pretty well. So that's that. So I've shown you how to install a theme and how to install plugins. Now, let me talk about the things that I normally recommend. For themes, for somebody who is a complete beginner, who doesn't want to spend a lot of money buying extra things, you want to use Astra. Astra is the theme, and you also now want to use plugins. There are a number of plugins that you want to use. You notice that the one we've installed, actually I've not put Elementor within this, but the first plugin you want to install is Elementor. Now there are a number of other plugins that we're going to use to create more optimization, but I don't want to cover them now, because by covering them here, I'll make it a bit more complex than it needs to be. But those plugins, for the people who are a bit more advanced, this is for you. You can probably install these plugins for yourself. And that is Yoast SEO, Auto-Optimize, Monster Insights, Envato Elements, and Talk Live Chat. So the only plugin that is here that we are going to add to our site that is we're going to need it right now as we are building the fast pages is Envato Elements. And so let's come here and add a new plugin. And that plugin is Envato Elements. Now Envato Elements, what it does is that it has a lot of templates, really well done templates that allow you to create a website quickly, like create a website that is going to be go live very quickly, and so that's available there. So Envato Elements. Now you'd go then and add a password for it. Let me add the password for it. So on Envato Elements, I just clicked on Envato Elements here, and I've added the password. So now that we have Envato Elements available, you'll notice that there are a lot of themes, a lot of like templates that are in here. Some of them are premium templates, but then there are free templates also available, which these ones are the ones that we're going to use to build our website. Now, this is what we're going to be doing tomorrow when we start creating our fast pages. And so I'd like you to probably be at this level. By the time you're done with today, have installed all the things we've talked about, and have added, basically have Envato Elements, have Elementor, and the Elementor page builder, and have installed Astra before we come to the next lesson. So let's do a few final things. A few final things that we want to do is just basically set up the way this website is going to look, like the header and footer. Okay, so I've talked about recommended settings. I'll not do this right now. Recommended settings for the plugins. Again, I don't want to complicate it further than it's already complicated. We are going to set this up on day 5. I'm moving this to day 5, so we're able to have a stream that is a stream of learning that makes a bit more sense, and it's not as complicated, not more complicated than it needs to be. So let's talk about like the header and the footer. Remember, this website looks like this. This is the header with the name and the footer with the name here. Something else I'd like you to work on, and I'm going to show you how to get there, is I'd like you to edit your header and footer. Edit your header and footer. And by the way, if any one of you are following along with what I'm doing right now, and you'd want us to see the progress that you have made, just post your domain name in here so that you can be able to see what you've done so far. If you are following along with me and you're doing, you're working with me to do all of this, then you can just actually post your domain name in the comments, and we're going to be able to have a look and celebrate what you're doing. So we have come to, you remember what you had done? We went to, you clicked on customize. When you were on the dashboard, you clicked on here, appearance, customize. So that's the same, that's what we've done, and it's brought us here. And the thing that I would want us to just edit would be like the header. So the header, editing the header here, making sure that it looks the way you want to add your logo there. By tomorrow, you'll have found me having added the logo, or probably you can add it together. But if you'd want to play around with it, just add your logo, change the site icon. The site icon is what you can see up here. It's the one that affects that, like the one you're seeing here for the Google Slides. And then you remember the place where we had changed the names of the name of the website. Now you can edit that and change it here. So basically, at this point, we have installed our WordPress installation. We have set the foundation of the website. We are now ready. Now the foundation normally doesn't look very pretty, but once we start building, we are now going to see how it's going to look. It's actually going to start taking shape, and I think it already has started taking shape, because you can see this is what was there before. If I refresh, you'll notice that now we have a default page already, a default like look already created for our website. So sawa. All right, thank you so much. I think I'd want to end it at this point, because we have covered a lot of ground. If you're lost on some of the things that we've talked about, you probably want to go back to the video and just watch it again, understand the concepts. Now, what we've talked about today is really critical. If you are going to be able to maintain your own website, you will need to have this available. You'll need to have a very strong understanding of what we've talked about today. So watch it a number of times. If you have questions, reach out to us on dipafrica.com no, actually dipafrica.com itself. Just start a chat with us, and you're going to be able to answer the questions you have. If you feel that you're not ready to move on to day 3 and there are things that didn't make sense, just go and fix, go and watch this video again. If there are issues there, talk to us, or we can fix them, so we can be able to go, be able to go around this together. All right, I want to close now. So I want to ask, are there any questions? Do you have questions for me? Please post them. If there are places where that did not make sense, I think I've answered a number as we are going along. But if you have any questions, please post them. Zuma is saying that he's looking forward for SEO. Brian Murunga is saying that he lost the way. How can he recover? Now, if you've lost your way, please, I don't want anyone losing their way, because if you lose your way right now, we're going to have issues moving forward. Start a chat with us on dipafrica.com / actually dipafrica.com, just start a chat with us there, or you can call us on, actually, Brian, please call us. I think you're in Kenya, so call us on 0712 500 500. That's +254 712 500 500, and we are going to be able to answer the questions and help you. Like, we can actually try and be on our screen share together. Okay, so if there are any questions, please post them there. I'd like to answer the questions you have. I'd also want to talk about this. Please, we really want to get feedback from you. We want to understand whether what we are doing is helping, whether it's helping you achieve your objectives. So please go to dipafrica.com / feedback and give us your review. Answer a short questionnaire. There's a short questionnaire there that is going to be telling you about how to Okay, sorry. The questionnaire is going to be about what you learned, the expectations you had for today, what you learned, and where areas where you think we can improve. We want to do a better job, so please tell us what you think. I'd really appreciate it. So please, right now, before you leave, before you end this, please go to deepafrica.com/feedback, even as you're submitting your questions. So I want to answer a few questions. Zuma. Yes, Zuma, if you know how to do something on localhost, then yes, you can do it on localhost, and it's going to you can be able to follow along. If you're on localhost, you need to have an internet connection for most of the things I'm going to show you, because you're going to be communicating with the servers like Elementor servers for the themes and plugin the themes and templates. And so, but yes, you can do it on localhost. It's a bit more complex than that for a beginner, so that's the reason I've taken the route I have, because localhost is more, it takes a lot more, there's a lot more things that you need to know, a lot more errors that you can run. So if you have the experience around it, you can use that, but if not, please just get a domain name or a subdomain if you have one available. Victoria is saying that they are learning a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm happy that you're learning a lot. Stephen is asked, no, actually, Bior Garang is asking whether our servers are here in Nairobi. Now, we currently do not host within the Nairobi area. Our server hosts are outside of the country. And we find that to be efficient because it serves all our clients pretty well. The thing about it is, even though our servers are not locally hosted, we are available 24/7 for you, to assist you. You are getting the service directly through us here in Kenya, so you do not have anything to worry about. I hope I've answered your question, Bior. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Bior Garang. Stephen is saying hello. Stephen, karibu sana. You got in a bit late. The beauty of being on a webinar like this is that you can reverse and go back to the beginning, and you're going to be able to see what it is that we discussed. The only thing you lose out is the live stream. Okay, I think we have answered the questions that are there. Thank you. Bior is saying yes, his question is answered, so thank you, Bior. I think I've answered all of the questions that are there. Guys, I'm really grateful that you came in again and were with us on this live stream. Go and do the assignments I've given. Now you have 2 assignments. The one we did yesterday on getting planning for your website. Right now we've laid the foundation. So now after that we are going to start using the things we talked about. So the things you need to have tomorrow is have our live WordPress installation like the way we've shown you how to do. You'll also need to have the information about your own website and have the images ready and resized and ready for use in the internet. If just in case you missed that, the webinar for yesterday should be on the Deep Africa YouTube channel. Just go and find that there and watch it so you know how to plan for your website and now how to set the foundation. And we are going to be able to move forward and make it something that is going to be useful for you. Thank you. I think there are a lot of people who are mentioning that they have learned a lot and making it very easy. We are available 24/7. There's somebody who mentioned, Derek, he got help at 4 a.m. today. We are available 24/7. So I'm happy that you are here. I request all of us to just go to deepafrica.com/feedback and give our feedback there. I am really grateful that you are here. I'd love to improve. I'd like to make this better. And I can't be able to do that without you coming in and helping. So just get in and get into deepafrica.com/feedback and tell us what you think. Again, asanteni sana for being on this live stream. My name is Anthony. This is Deep Africa. The goal of this webinar is that you're going to have a website by the end of this week. You're going to have a website ready, a simple website for you. Even if you didn't know how to blog before, we're going to help you get there. So if there are things that you do not understand, reach out to us, because we want to move together and have you have built a website by the end of this entire series. Asanteni sana, guys. Have a lovely time. And again, my hope for you is that you're going to be able to follow along. So have a wonderful day. Let's get to work.